All right, so for the people that aren't here, when it's a live lesson, you have to go to live attendance and click on the little link. So then I can record exactly who's here for each live lesson, okay? So please make sure that you do that at the start of every live lesson, okay? It should come up with a little question. Just to kind of quickly go through everything, I posted a couple of other things in our team. We have, of course, our DP1 YouTube channel, and this has got this is where I'll post all of our videos that you will be able to access through YouTube. I have also got, this is the lessons from the 6th to the 17th, and this is where I'll post any kind of work that I want you to have a look at. You all seem to have picked that up. And I've also put in here I've started doing other videos called How To. You can all see this okay, yeah? Okay. Cool. So these videos are meant to be short little snippets of information on how to do certain things, okay? And I'm going to be putting these on all year groups, just so you know, if you need a recap on how to add or subtract fractions, how to divide fractions, I'm going to be putting this stuff on here. So if any of this applies to you, I suggest you go back and you can see, like, this is only 4 minutes long. How to find the inverse of a function. This is something that we did last term. It's 8 minutes 50. So they're not, I don't want them to be long videos. I don't go into much of the kind of understanding. It's kind of like, this is the process, this is how you do it, if you need a recap on it, okay? Factorizing a quadratic by splitting the middle term. This is something that I think some of us may need some practice at, so I would go back and have a look at any of these that you feel necessary. And if there's anything that you do want me to do, just let me know, okay? And I can post them in here. So, and I'm going to keep adding to this as well, okay? I've also created, you're going to like this one, an exam channels. Sorry, let me just admit Samara. I've also created an exam questions channel. This is where I'll post videos or questions based on exam questions. So we had the request to have a go at some exam questions on arithmetic and geometric sequences. Don't just watch this. Don't just watch these videos blindly. Take them, have a go at it yourself, and then finish off by watching the solution, okay? I've put the only way to get better at doing maths is by doing maths. So have a go at it yourself first and then do the question, okay? So this is, the first one here is an SL question, but HL you should definitely have a go at it as well. It's paper 2, so that means you can use your calc. And then this one is specifically for HL. SL, if you fancy a challenge, you've got the tools to do it. It's a nice question. It's 18 marks and it's non-calc. Definitely have a look. This morning, before you came on, you might have noticed I've also posted exam questions for you to have a look at. This is based on everything you've done so far, apart from trig. And I've got SL questions and HL questions. And I've also just referenced here which ones are calc. So please use the calc whenever you're allowed. And if it's non-calc, obviously don't. If you would prefer these posted as Word documents, I can also post them as Word if you need that, okay? So I would have a look at these. If you've got any questions on any of the questions, and you should do, okay? They are difficult, they're tough. You can post any questions in this channel, and I will do a video, or I will try and get you started if you are stuck on something. Does that make sense? Cool. Sorry, any questions? Yeah. Yeah, I haven't posted anything yet because I thought we would just do it over the Zoom call. I'm going to take some notes. Um, please have a, like, I can't emphasize enough that this is really important, these exam questions. This is the kind of standard that you need to get to. And the students that tend to do better, or the students that tend to do really well in maths at IB diploma, are the students that do as many questions as possible. It kind of, and it makes sense, you know, the more questions you do, the better you will do. I've had students that have done every single question in the whole book, and they've done really well. Students that don't do any questions and they don't. It kind of makes sense. But I just wanted to put that out there. Okay, so the more questions you do, the better you will do. And please ask if you get stuck. So for today, for those of you who have just joined, please do the live attendance for me. But for today, we are going to look at something called, so I'm just going to take some notes. I'm using new software, it's all fancy, and this is called oh, this is slow. No, don't be slow. Radian measure. Can you see that all okay? Excellent. Okay, so maybe if I type it might make it easier. So we're going to say that okay, that didn't work. Radians are another unit in which we can measure angles. So the extended class will have covered some of this last year, but radians are just another unit in which we can measure angles, okay? We are used to measuring angles in what? Yep. Now start to use radians. It's no different to if you're, say, measuring length. You can measure a length in centimeters, but I could also measure a length in inches. Okay, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's just a different unit of measurement. And the same way that we can convert between centimeters and inches, okay, there'll be like a little formula that you can use to convert between them both. We can do exactly the same with degrees and radians, okay? Now, the easiest way to now, where people get hung up on this is 180 degrees is equal to pi radians. Okay, what is pi again? Yeah, 3.14, and it goes on forever. So it's like saying 180 degrees. If I've got an 180 degree angle, it's approximately equal to 3.14 radians, okay? It's just a different unit, okay? We're so used to thinking of 180 degrees, we know exactly what 180 degrees is. This is just another measurement, okay? So there is 180 degrees, but it's exactly the same as 3.14 radians. But we want to be precise about it, so we're going to say it's pi radians. So if that's the case, what is 360 degrees? Somebody in SL, if you could shout out. Anyone in SL? Think of what I'm doing to the 180 to get 360. Yeah, it's going to be 2 pi because it's twice the amount, isn't it? It's 180 times 2 is 360. So I do the same thing here. So 360 degrees is 2 pi radians. What about somebody else? What's 90 degrees then? Think about, yeah. a half pi radians, or pi over 2. Yep, good, Darius. What about 45 degrees? Yeah, it's going to be pi over 4, good, because it's half again of 90. And what about 30 degrees? Think, what do I do to this 180 degrees to get 30? Going to be pi over what? I can have somebody from HL. Yeah, it's going to be 6, because 180 divided by 6 is 30. Pi divided by 6, pi over 6 radians. And I'll do one more. What about 60 degrees? Yep, pi over 3 radians. Good. All right, so it's just, think of it as a different unit of measurement. It's not a big deal if I've got an angle that is 30 degrees. Instead of writing 30 degrees, I could just write pi over 6. And your calculator will have, you'll be able to change your calculator so it will be in radians as opposed to degrees, okay? And we'll talk about that shortly. Now, some of you may just prefer how to convert. So let's just quickly do a note on, what time's this lesson over at again? 10:30, okay. Converting. Okay. Converting between degrees and radians. I think I need to upgrade my software. All right, so to go from degrees to radians, all we have to do is, maybe I'll do a little how-to video on this. You multiply the degrees by pi over 180. Okay, and we do not write this as a decimal, okay? Sometimes, like if it's a calculator paper, sometimes they will write it as a decimal, but if we're ever working in it, we try and write it as it is, okay? So for example, let's do change 20 degrees into radians. We multiply it by pi over 180. How do I simplify this? How can I simplify 20 multiplied by pi over 180? Okay, well, how do I multiply them together? Yep, straight across. Yep. So it's going to be 20 pi over 180. How do I simplify 20 pi over 180? Yep, divide top and bottom by 20. So we can even do 10 first. So that's 2 over 18, and that becomes 1 over 9. So it just becomes pi over 9. Okay? Easy enough. So 20 degrees is pi over 9 radians. Any questions so far? I do realize I'm going quite quick, but I kind of want you to get started in some questions. Let's just quickly do radians to degrees. If you have any questions, just shout. So for this one, you multiply the radians by 180 degrees over pi. So for example, if I have got, let's say, I don't know, 7 pi over 20. So 7 pi over 20 radians. If I want to change that into degrees, I multiply by 180 over pi. So 7 pi over 20 multiplied by 180 over pi. What happens to pi's? Got pi on the top, pi on the bottom. Cancel. I've got that 20 can divide into that 180 how many times? Yep. So I've got 7 on the top here, 9 on the top here. 7 times 9 is 63. Yeah. Okay, so it's important that you know how to multiply fractions and divide fractions, okay? And like I said, I've put some videos on YouTube on how to do that if you just need a reminder, okay? Any questions? Okay, these are this is what you need to remember for today, okay? You need to make sure that you know how to convert these and to kind of get you going on some questions. SL, you can have a look at page 511, exercise 12a. And HL, in your book, you can have a look at page 380, exercise 6c. Okay, and this is just converting, okay? Cool. Just before I go, just a reminder that I said yesterday, like I don't really mind. I know that you've probably got a lot on at the minute. So I assigned, this was the work from yesterday. I can see that 7 of you had a go at the Ed puzzle. If you haven't done that, please make sure that you have a go at it. It's important. And have a go at the questions. I have to give a shout out to Darius. He's been very good at posting his work on evidence it completed. And the HL students, they've posted work as well. Please post some work so I can actually see how you're getting on. It will definitely help. And please keep up with things, okay? I don't mind if you don't do them straight away, the questions straight away, but if you put it off or if you leave it, it's just going to build up, okay? So please keep on top of things. Please have a look at the exam questions. And if you haven't done it already, do the live attendance. Okay, that's a lot of chat from me. Any questions? Okay, I'm just going to go back to the main screen.